I want to introduce you to the go-to-market analyzer. And the idea here is to have the software give you a sense of where you stand with your go-to-market strategies. One of the most important things in launching a new product and scaling a product that already exists is having a well dialed in go-to-market strategy. And what a lot of people do is they kind of rush off. They get in a hurry to get their product out into the market, and they've not really thought through all the various parts of a go-to-market strategy. And that's what this software is intended to do in as little as 5 minutes. If you know the right answers along the way, the software will ask you 25 questions about your go-to-market strategy. And at the end, it's going to give you recommendations on how to improve that. And hopefully that will improve you, make more money with your product or service. So I'm going to take you through it, and you can sense what it's like. So we're going to start the assessment. You have to give it your name. I'm just going to use mine for today. Let's all hope that I can type. This is just to capture the information that really matters. Get to see my email and me lobster claw my way through this right now. I'm not going to put my phone number though. So we're going to start the assessment, and we're going to first look at who your target customer segment is. And the idea is, how well do you understand intimately your target customer segment? The most important thing about doing this assessment is that you are brutally honest with yourself. If you answer in all the best ways, you're just going to get a score that doesn't mean anything, and it doesn't help you along the way. So you need to be really, really honest with yourself. Now, when I go through it for the sake of the video, I'm just going to select things. I'm not going to pick anything specific. But when you do it, please be brutally honest with yourself. So for example, on this question, if you don't know your target customer segment really well, if you're not sure, I just talked to a customer just a few minutes ago. I asked them, who are you targeting? And they weren't sure. They asked me who they should target. That's not necessarily a great thing. They should have done some research. So for them, we would say they had a poorly defined target customer segment. How well do you understand that customer's pain points? Do you know exactly what hurts more than anyone else? We're going to say they kind of understand it. Do you know how to get in front of your target customer or your target market? Do you know where they hang out? Do you know the places that they go? And we're going to say it's a little bit limited. How big is your total relevant market? Now, what you're used to hearing is total addressable market. This is your total relevant market, or the amount of the market that you can reasonably win. Most people focus on the entire market, and that's not the market. You're just not going to go out and get 100% of market share like someone like an NVIDIA might do. So we're going to say that they have a medium-sized market. It's a good size. They've done their research. How validated is your product market fit? How much have you talked to customers? Do you know that customers have this pain point, that they're willing to pay you? That's the important part. Notice right here it says are willing to pay for the solution. How much are they? Do you know that for a fact that they're willing to pay you if you bring the right thing to market? I'm going to say not validated. Using the customer I just talked to, they didn't validate a whole lot in my personal opinion. How clear and compelling is your value proposition? We've got a good value proposition. We know that the product is designed well, it solves a pain point, and it solves it in a unique way, and the target market's going to be interested in it. How unique is it compared to competitors? In this instance, it was a highly unique solution. I've not been able to find anyone else that offers it along the way, and so we're going to say it's highly unique. Do your customers appear to understand the value that you offer? In this instance, only a little bit. So they've talked to some people, they've talked to some prospects that could pay for their solution, but they've not talked to enough, and so they don't really know if the customers really understand the value. Why wouldn't they use another product? How quantifiable are the benefits you provide? In this instance, they have quantified those really, really well. They know the benefits. We're going to say moderately qualified. How strong is customer demand? Well, they know for a fact. This is one that we can say very strong demand, because this particular solution, we know for a fact that people already pay for this. This is just a better solution. How established is your pricing strategy? We're going to say not established. This particular customer I was just talking to, they hadn't done any research. They didn't know what the market would pay. They didn't even know their costs. So we're going to say not very well established. How aligned is your pricing with customer value perception? In this instance, we're going to say poorly aligned, all the way back to they didn't understand in the first place, and they've not done their research. When you are pricing out a product or a service, when you're in the early stages, it's important to be very flexible. And so this question is asking you that, how flexible is your pricing model? Theirs is moderately flexible. They know that they will have to move the pricing a little bit to win some market share, and so they're willing to do that. How competitive is your pricing? It's never a good idea to always try and be the lowest in the market, but in this case, they have a very competitively priced product, particularly since it does some unique things, and so that's a good thing. Do they have a sales process? Well, these folks don't really have a sales process. Matter of fact, they struggled with some basic sales principles, so we're going to say it's underdeveloped. Underqualified sales team. They didn't even have one. They as the founders didn't appear to really be sure how to sell their product. What we're going to do is we're going to go backwards. We're going to change this to adequately. How effective is your lead generation? They weren't even sure how to go about that. They were really confused about that. So we're going to say it's not very effective. You're hearing not great answers. This was a great people and a great idea, but they just jumped ahead too fast, and that happens pretty commonly. How well do you track and measure sales performance? They weren't even thinking about sales performance and how they were going to track that. So we're going to say poorly. How scalable is your sales model? In this case, it's not scalable because they've never scaled a sales model like this. But if you have, you would answer something totally different. We're almost there. We've got a few more questions left. How well identified are your most effective marketing channels? In this instance, although they didn't understand the sales process, they had a general idea about the marketing distribution channels they were going to leverage, how to get the best ROI. So we're going to say somewhat. How diversified is your marketing channel? In this instance, this is one place they were pretty well prepared. They were moderately diversified. A lot of the work we did together was identifying the go-to-market channels they were going to leverage, and they had those kind of mapped out. How measurable are your marketing efforts? We think we can measure those somewhat, but not a lot early on. How optimized is your content and marketing strategy or messaging strategy? That was pretty optimized. That was one place I had spent a lot of time with them. So we're going to say highly optimized. Let's make sure we click it appropriately. And then two more questions. How well do you understand the competitive landscape? I had spent a lot of time with them on that, so it's very, very well understood. And how differentiated is your positioning? That was pretty well differentiated. That was one of the places they had done a nice job. They knew how to have a really good product. They knew how to make it stand out compared to the competitors. So once you've gone through these 25 questions, you're going to click complete assessment, and you're going to get an assessment score. So for these folks, you can see they're 72% ready, which is good, but not great. And this is where they're breaking down. So target market, they're doing pretty good, but they're not doing as great in some of these other categories. And here's the best part. This process gives you personalized recommendations and places you should focus. So here they're saying high priorities to focus on your marketing channels, conduct analysis, set up analytics, and create channel-specific content. This is exactly what I told them. Medium priorities, refine the sales process, and enhancements that could optimize their pricing model. The other great thing is the 90-day action plan kind of tells them what to go about, complete their audit, set up analytics, do implementation, and then optimize. And then the best part, right now the app is in test mode, so it's not doing it, but you will be able to download your full report here and use that. Just print it right off or download it and save it as a PDF, and you can use it along the way. So hope that helps. Give it a shot. I'd love to see what you think about it, what comes back. If you knew the places you were weak with your go-to-market strategies or you knew the places you were strong, love to hear your feedback, and I hope you enjoy the process.